Hello and welcome back to Transcending Cancer. I'm Char,
I'm Enrico.
and today we're talking about rainy days.
Yep, it's raining right now.
It is. And it feels good. I want to cuddle up and just kind of wrap my arms around myself and kind of curl into a little ball and not do anything.
Get a blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we both had a couple of those days.
Just a couple.
And probably everybody has those days. But maybe those days are a bit tougher, more pronounced,
They feel darker.
darker when you get through cancer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any memories come to mind? Any days where you felt like, oh, I beat it, and now I'm laying here in bed, and I'm in a dark spot. Or I almost want to be in a dark spot.
Yeah. I can think of a couple instances. One, when I was returning to breastfeeding with Max, um, because he was a tiny baby after I had my tumor removed. And I remember coming back, and the first time he breastfed, I came home after 5 days, and the first time he breastfed, I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Then I think the next day, I don't know if I was in an uncomfortable position or just feeling a little bit more pain in general. And I kind of pushed through with it. And the next day, having to even think about starting breastfeeding on a regular basis with him felt terrifying.
Mm,
That was a dark day.
mm,
Just like, oh, I I don't know if I can do this. This is the thoughts. They were ahead of me. They were in the future. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can go through with this. Maybe it's over now. Maybe I should just throw in the towel.
mm,
And just feeling confused, not being able to take a decision, and just feeling really down.
mhm. Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can push through this one.
Yeah, it's like you just went through a massive surgery and you're kind of like recovering, you're getting better. And then this rather small thing compared to that,
Yeah.
all of a sudden feels like you're reliving a major
Mhm.
event again.
Yeah. That's a
And
really good way to put it.
maybe it's a way to process that major event, you know? Maybe it's just another path or part of recovery.
Yeah. That's a really lovely way to put it.
I had a moment, I think I was trying to pretend that everything was going good. And then about 3 months after my original first cancer diagnosis and surgery and everything, I had my first follow-up scan and they found like a lesion in my pelvic bone.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor was like, I think it's nothing, but it could be. So let's do some sort of bone scan density check. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And and that was really, really scary. And it felt a little bit like a get used to rainy days moment.
Mm.
Like just accept that yes, you're kind of trying to leave all this behind you and you're kind of pumped that you beat cancer or you get rid of it,
Mm-hmm.
but not too fast.
Mm. 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 Yeah. It reminds me of what you said about my thing. It's like another opportunity to release some of that trauma around
Mm,
the major event.
mm,
And it feels also like another way just to let go of fears maybe that we're always there lurking beneath the surface that we managed to avoid for a really long time.
Mm. Yeah.
And let those go a little bit more now that they're
Yeah.
at the surface.
Yeah. In a way, the rainy day is an opportunity to go deeper.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's also, I guess, a day to just say screw it. Like today, I'm just gonna, you know,
Yeah.
just not gonna do whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't it be beautiful if we could embrace that more?
Hmm.
I kind of see it like just being like, today sucks, and crawling around on the floor, just like yelling and listening to terrible music. Like,
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
that be freeing
yeah.
if we could give ourselves that? Yeah.
As long as this doesn't become every day, I think that would be not helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's probably also where there's a thin line between a rainy day and a mild depression,
Yeah.
and I think that's something to watch out for. Because I definitely had depressive moments more than once,
Hmm.
and rainy days are okay, and sometimes they might last longer than a few days, but at the same time, if you can't watch out for yourself, have somebody else watch out for you to remind you that there's also sunshine out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. And there are two things I want to say. One is right in line with what you said, and that's the having somebody there to watch out for you. I think the communal support, whether it's through a therapist or a doctor or a friend or a loved one or family member, like that's key.
Hmm.
That's key in all of this. And I truly believe that if you allow yourself to get to the depth of that emotion, to get to the depth of that depression, like really am like crawling around on the floor, yelling, letting it all out, if you can really get there and feel safe getting there, it's going to go away.
Hmm. Until you hit the next spot.
Until you hit the next spot.
Yeah.
And I guess the danger with saying that is if we try to do it by ourselves and we can't really go there and we just get stuck trying over and over again.
Hmm. Yeah.
Or if we start to go there and it just feels so comfortable, we don't want to leave and don't actually want to
Yeah. Yeah.
go through with it. Because it's when we get close to healing, is when things get really rough.
Hmm.
It's like when we get close to the bottom of whatever that emotion is when it's like the demons come out to play.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, don't go there.
Yeah, and I think especially as a cancer survivor, it's in a way it feels double hard because you just fought. Like you just did like major surgery, major treatment, major a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Probably you did a lot of life changes and
Mm-hmm.
so you're like I had many moments where I was just frustrated because I felt what else? Like
Yeah.
I've been doing so much. Like
Mm-hmm.
what's next? And I guess in a way, looking at it now, I shouldn't see it as something else. It's just part of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just part of that journey. And it starts with what the, why me? And then it's all the really rough, shaky, and then slowly you move into recovery. And then you're ready at some point to go get it, get your life back. And there are rainy days.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, I think it's so easy to fall into that role of disempowerment.
Hmm.
The why me? I can't do this anymore. I
Will it
like
ever get better?
yeah, how many more times? That was a big thought for me. Like how many more times am I going to have to go through this?
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't as big as the first time, it still,
Mm.
it just felt like such a burden. Every little either setback or perceived setback.
Yeah.
And I think looking at this from a new perspective, that disempowerment, those fears of disempowerment and not being able to make it, were really just sort of this opposite reflection of the power waiting to come out inside of me.
Mm. Yeah. And it was just part of the process.
Yeah. And fears lie.
Mm.
They like to show you the opposite. They like to say, if you do this, A will happen. When really it's, if you do this, the opposite of A will happen.
Yeah. Just, smash that gong in the hospital or the bell, the cancer bell, and you're free.
Yeah.
And maybe not. But I think if you can take a step back and say it's all part of the process and be kind to yourself and make sure you have support,
Mm-hmm.
then there's a lot of growth in there. The same way that we all like a rainy day every 1 hour, and then we need it anyways. So
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at our thoughts more objectively also, or from a place of non-judgment, I think can really help and go, oh, I'm having these thoughts of doubt and of doom and gloom
fear.
and fear and depression and thinking that everything's not going to be okay. And that's freeing in itself.
Hmm.
Just labeling, oh, I'm having these thoughts. Or, oh, I'm judging myself for having these thoughts.
Hmm.
It brings a lightness to it for me.
Yeah, and even a few years out, with rainy days, the cancer rainy days become less frequent, but they still happen.
Yeah. And I think less intense overall.
Overall, yeah.
Or maybe we've just learned how to deal with them so they don't feel so scary.
Maybe.
Less controlling, less all consuming.
But the rainy days are there.
Mm.
They'll come back. And they're not all that bad.
Yeah.